What's going on, sports card hobby family? We have made it to Friday. It is the end of the week. Oh my gosh, I can't wait for the weekend. I don't know about you all. Thank you very much for joining me today. If you are new here, you're looking for daily sports card collectibles content, you have come to the right place. Hit that subscribe button down below, and we will keep the videos a-coming. Also, don't forget to connect with me on the old IG machine at SportsCardDad. Today, we're going to talk about a fun topic: PSA population control with PSA 10s. Everybody wants 10 grades, regardless of what grading company it is. And there's so much talk and conspiracy theory and just, there's always so much debate around PSA 10s, PSA 9s, what's the difference between a 9 and a 10 and this, that, and whatever. But we're going to kind of dive into 3 cards. We're going to look at population growth on 3 different cards and just analyze some things. And I've got to actually, the last card is a very vulnerable card in my opinion, so stay tuned until the very end. We will talk about it. Huge thanks to today's video sponsor, COMC.com, your home for buying, selling 32 plus million cards on the site. And friends, they have got a promotion from September 21st through October 31st for TCG cards, 30% off elite and select submissions. Disney Lorcana, some of the hottest stuff out there, as well as Pokemon 151, which drops today, are both fresh pulls eligible. Make sure to take advantage of the promotion between September 21st and October 31st. I'll have a link in the video description as well as the pinned comments to take you directly to COMC. All right, so like I said, always huge debate around PSA 10s. Everyone's trying to get a PSA 10. They're grading millions of cards a month. Well, about 1 million cards a month, a little over 1 million cards a month. So a lot of grading going on. And then, of course, all the other grading companies, the top 4 are crushing it. SGC, BGS, CGC. Every grading company right now is really enjoying a boom time. So let's talk about a few cards in particular and take a look at population growth. Now, first, let me say, and I've said this before, I don't think that Nat Turner steps out of his office and calls out to the assembly line, "Everybody, we are not giving out any more PSA 10s on Jordan cards for the rest of the year, 86 Fleer Jordans," or whatever the case may be. I don't think there's internal memos that go out, "Hey, hold off on PSA 10s for this card." I don't think that that's the case at all. However, I do have to assume that over time, there's certain cards, and maybe it's just hobby popularity for these cards or, how certain cards are made. There has to be a shift in mindset to where if you're getting a 20-year-old card or 30-year-old card or 40-year-old card in, it has to naturally get harder to get a 10 or even for some cases a 9. If we get into vintage, then it's even just getting 7s and 8s. Is there kind of a natural population control that happens just based on kind of the confirmation bias, recency bias, whatever it is that a grader has for particular cards? The first one we're going to talk about is a very popular baseball card in the baseball card market. It's a 1993 SP Derek Jeter rookie card, the foil card. This is a card, if we look at the PSA 10 for this one, 21 copies currently in a PSA 10. That's why they're so expensive. There's only 21 PSA 10s. Overall, it's not a mega rare card, but it is in a PSA 10 or any 10 grade for that matter. Over the last 12 months, there's been 0 new PSA 10s. Now, if we look at PSA 9s for this card, there are currently 621 PSA 9s. A year ago, 613. So there's only +8 over the last 12 months. Now think back, PSA has graded 12 million cards over the last 12 months approximately. And again, I don't know exactly how many are of this particular card, but this shows you right here that not only is it really, really hard, actually impossible to get a 10 over the last 12 months, it never happened. It's also extremely hard to get a 9 for this card. So a lot of them are falling into that 7 and 8 bucket. So I'm sure if we look at 7 and 8 population, and I'm using market movers here, there is an affiliate link down below. Use it, don't use it, doesn't matter to me. But if you're looking to get into all the charts and the graph stuff, but the population growth stuff is something that I'm really interested in here using market movers. So yes, affiliate link down below. But this shows you that most of these Jeters are falling into the 6, 7, 8 range for PSA grading over the last 12 months. Let's look at another very, very popular hobby card. 2003 LeBron James Topps Chrome in a PSA 10. Currently now you have 2,255 of these copies. If we go back 2.5 years ago, February 2021, so 2.5 years ago, that's quite a while in today's grading environment. Think about how many cards have been graded, this being a popular one to get graded, 2.1 thousand going back 2.5 years. So in 2.5 years of mega grading, tons and tons of grading, they've added 150 new PSA 10s. That's an incredibly low percentage of PSA 10s, really, in the grand scheme of things. Over the last 2.5 years, where PSA is graded what? 25 million cards in the last 25 years? 25 years. 2.5 years? 25 million cards approximately in the last 2.5 years. That's probably about right. Now let's look at the PSA 9. February 2021, so again about 2.5 years ago, 2.4 thousand, 2,400 roughly, about 2,400. Now, 3,900. 3,900, you have a plus 1,500. You've got 75, 80% more of these in 2.5 years. Now, I know what a lot of people are going to say. This is a card, a lot of people are cracking out of 9s trying to get to 10s. So this isn't necessarily different cards. This might be the same, a lot of the same submissions. So naturally, you're going to have a bigger growth in the 9 just based on people trying to crack a 9 out, send it back, trying to get a 10, send it back, trying to get a 10. But I think this shows you that a lot of folks doing it haven't really been successful doing it. It's just not easy to get a 10 in this grade. And that, again, I just wonder if we look at these two cards, Jeter, LeBron, these two cards are very important hobby cards. So does a PSA or an SGC or a BGS, are they looking at these a little bit closer, erring on the side of caution, not because they're trying to control it purposely, but because they do understand these are important hobby cards and they want to make sure that they have it right. Let's go to a card that is a newer card that is more of a speculative play, but I think it gives kind of a contrast to these first two cards. 2020 Joe Burrow Prism Silver and a PSA 10. Now, this card, to me, is a very vulnerable card, not just because of Joe Burrow's calf injury, which that's something to watch in itself, and Joe Burrow hasn't won titles and hasn't done what LeBron James and Derek Jeter have done, respectively, so far in his career. But it's more that 2020 is kind of the beginning of higher print runs. Also, let's take a look at what we've got here. So in a PSA 10 for a Silver Prism Joe Burrow, 239. There's only 239 right now. If we go back to 2021, 2.5 years ago, there was 10 copies. 10 copies. And of course, as you can get, this is at the peak of the market. Those were expensive, those 10 copies. Whoever got those first graded 2020 Silver Prism Joe Burrows, those PSA 10s and got them out into the market, they did very, very well. So now if we look 2.5 years later, there's not 10, but there's only 239. There's still a dramatic increase in what it was, 10. PSA 9s, 2.5 years ago, 29 copies. So again, this is just as it's rolling out, getting graded. Only 29 copies. Those are probably selling really nicely. Now there's 721 9s, 2.5 years later. Now some would say that's still really low though. That's still really low. The one thing you need to be careful of here though is there is a lot, and I mean a lot of unopened 2020 product out there. Tons of blaster boxes, tons of hobby boxes. Go on eBay right now and search up 2020 Prism football, and it's endless. There's a lot of product of this out there. Plus, distributors kind of slow release this stuff. The last year they did this where they released 2017 product. They just kind of, oops, oh yes, we had this extra 2017 Prism, and everybody just gobbles it up. And of course, the price points are high because of Mahomes and everything else. There's a lot of 2020 product that has not been opened yet and has not been graded yet, but it will be. And so this to me is, and again, if you like Joe Burrow, I like Joe Burrow too. I think he's cool. He's my starting fantasy quarterback, even though he's been a flop the first two weeks, and I'm worried about his calf. But he's an exciting player, and I can understand kind of wanting to get into some of his stuff. I just think that patience is really key for this because these populations will continue to grow. You can count on that. But then the question comes, when is there a little bit of added scrutiny to when it becomes a lot harder to get that 10, to gem this card? And again, I don't think this is something that they just say, all right, we have hit the 10-year marker and there will be no more PSA 10s. I don't think that's how it works, but there has to be over time something that happens. It's kind of like with 84 Topps Dan Marino and John Elway rookie cards. I've noticed this too. The population on those is very low, but I've seen a lot of people that are like, man, I've got a really nice Dan Marino rookie card, 84 Topps John Elway rookie card. I'm going to send it in. I think it'll 10. Good luck. good luck. I am certain that the majority, 80 to 90% of those fall into the 7, 8, 9 bucket. Your really nice Elway Merino rookie card probably tops out at a 9. And if you get a 10, you just squeaked it through. You got that 1 through for the year. You know, that's just my point. It's just very difficult to get 10s on certain cards. And the proof really is in the pudding there with the data. It just shows you what's hitting the population report. And there's just certain things. And then you go back to vintage, 9s and 8s, and, you know, forget about Mickey Mantle 52 tops 10s, you know, even just 9s and 8s and that sort of thing. It's tougher. So very interesting debate. It's kind of age old, going back 20, 30 years with grading companies, and especially with PSA. Let me know your thoughts in the comments below. And don't forget to take advantage of that COMC special that we talked about earlier in the video. Guys, stay healthy, stay awesome, and I will talk to you again later.